Okay. Doing a sound test here. Seeing. Okay, doing a sound test, seeing what it sounds like, and so far, blah, 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 talking, talk. Okay, well, that seems to be pretty good. It would have been even better if I could do some processing on the input. I'm gonna put this over here. I literally have a motor behind me. I wish it was in front of me, but I don't have that luxury, do I? All right, well, I'm gonna add background music. Just real low. Okay. Okay. These additional things set up. am I doing now? Trying to remember. I was getting something. Oh yes, I remember. Totally new to doing this, but hey. Oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. But hey, okay, so experimenting with streaming. I'm actually going to out things this time and see what happens. So let's see how it goes. It is also a very strange new experience for me. Very strange for me. I wish I had a second monitor so I could just like put it here in front of me, but I'm like casting to a Roku TV just so I can have like the streaming software on one side and my screen is clear for everything else. Did I have to do this? I don't know. Is it more convenient? I don't know. I'm going to see. Okay. One last thing. Okay. So okay, so with that done, okay. All right, so with that done, I think everything's all good and set. I have no idea if anyone's going to tune in or not, but I just feel like doing this. Okay, so continuing with this Firebase web code lab. The last time I did this, I went through the overview, looked at the sample code, went all the way up to importing and configuring the Firebase project. So now I'm actually going to set up user sign in. And in case you didn't know, we're building a neat little chat application. So let's see. Okay. Oh, I don't even have Visual Studio Code open up, so I should probably open that up too. Close on my settings. VS Code. Here we go. Did I click it? All right, there we go. VS Code should be opening up. Okay. Oh, dang, I opened it up twice. That was gonna happen. Okay, so let's see. This SDK should now be ready to use since it's imported and initialized in index.html, and we're going to look at that file later. We're now going to implement user sign-in using Firebase authentication. It is just one of the many awesome things that Firebase can do. So that's just something this in documentation of the console. Worry about that right now. Okay. So let's see. So authenticate users with Google sign-in in the app. When the user clicks the sign in Google button, the sign-in function is triggered. We already set that up for you. I'm doing too much stuff. I want to do it myself, but that's fine. For this Codelab, we want to authorize Firebase to use Google as the identity provider. So we'll use a pop-up, but several other methods are available from Firebase. Cool. Let's see. So in the website directory, so we're going to do these two steps. In the website directory, in the subdirectory, public scripts, you're going to open main.js. You're going to find the function sign in and replace the entire function with the following code. Okay. So let's look at what this code does first. So I think they already have that function header there. And this function sign in to sign into friendly chat. Let's see. And this code is going to allow us to sign into Firebase using a pop-up auth and Google as the identity provider. So you can initialize a variable called provider and make that equal to new firebase.auth.Google auth provider. So we create that object. And then let's see. We call this, so we call this method firebase.auth.sign-in with pop-up. So this is essentially the function that we're calling on the Firebase auth object, and we're passing it our provider, which is Google in this case, and we get that with this piece of code here. So let me just grab this code here. Now let's see. It's gonna stick that in. So let's see. I need to go to main.js. Oh, here we go. Probably let's call. Let me make sure I have the right. So go to the website during public scripts, open main.js. So website directory, public scripts, main.js. Public, oh, there are the scripts, main.js. And now, oh, and here's the friendly chat. Oh, dang. All right, so I'm going to, I don't need this alert message. So we're going to remove this message. I'm going to stick that in there, but I'm going to remove this alert message because it's just going to give us like a standard browser alert. And that to do is now done. So again, we have the, okay, so we keep provider, create a new authentication, basically a new provider object, Google auth provider object. I'm probably using the wrong terminologies, but I want to make sure everything is understood. Okay, cool. So everything is, oops. So now, if I just make sure, actually how much? Cool. Yep, it's good. Okay, next we're going to look at the sign out function. The sign out function is triggered when the user clicks the sign out button. So we're going to go back to the file, public scripts main.js. Okay, find the function sign out and replace the entire function with the following code. Okay. So public scripts main.js. Public scripts main.js. The function sign out is probably right below there. So this is where it's going to go. And what does that code look like? Okay, so it's just a simple, one of the key things, listen, one of the most valuable things, one of the most valuable skills is just being able to read documentation. And I need to do a better job at that. Because Firebase is such a good tool. So let's see. No, I wish I'm gonna the document. I should look at the documentation. I wonder if they're like, are there any just like brief overviews of the general structures of the general structure, so it's easier to remember, just like for what services you want to use. If like you have authentication, just don't be a Firebase.auth. That's pretty much the service you want to use. Sign out. I don't know if they're all that simple, but if you could just to have a quick overview of that. Okay. Next, we're gonna set up as a sign up. Next, we're gonna check the authentication state. To update our UI accordingly, we need a way to check if the user is signed in or out. With Firebase authentication, you can register an observer on the authentication state that will be triggered each time the authentication state changes. So you register an observer on the authentication state. That's going to be triggered every time the authentication state changes. Okay. So we're going back to the main.js. We're going to find the function init Firebase auth. We're going to place the entire function with the code below. So again, Firebase auth on auth state change. I'm going to pass it the auth state observer. Let's learn more about this auth state observer because the code above it registers this function auth state observer as the authentication state observer. It will trigger each time the authentication state changes when the user signs in or out. Is at this point you'll update the UI to display or hide the sign-in button, the sign up button, the sign-in user's profile picture, and so on. All of these UI parts have already been implemented. Okay, so we're not dealing with UI at all here, so that's no problem. Let's see. I'm gonna get this, but I'm gonna have a closer look at the auth state observer. Register the function auth state observer as the authentication. So this is one of the times where I really want to dig more into documentation. So let's do is just like probably keep track of what's already done. Auth state observer. So let's see. Function auth state observer. Okay, cool. So this is a function auth state observer that's made further. It's made further down, I believe. So this auth state observer function triggers when the auth state change. Triggers when the auth state change, for instance, when the user signs in or out. And so what we do here, if the user is signed in, we get the signed in profile pic name. And how do we do that? So profile pic URL, get profile pic URL. Let's see. I'm guessing this is another function that's created somewhere else. I have an idea of how you would do that. So let's have a quick look at that, shall we? So that's something we're gonna do later. So maybe I'll leave that alone for now. We're gonna learn how to do that later. But it was nice getting a quick look at this function. Because like at least I know now that hey, what's this? Is this something that is within the Firebase documentation, or was this a user-defined function? When I say user, I'm referring to like the developer. Okay, so that answers that question. Cool. Answers that question because I did not know. All right, so let's look at the next step. And then maybe I'll have a quick look around, documentation. Okay, so now we're actually going to get to that part. Display the information of the signed-in user. We want to display the signed-in user's profile picture and username in the top of our app. In Firebase, the signed-in user's data is always available in the Firebase.auth.current user object. So earlier we set up the auth_state_observer function to trigger when the user signs in so that our UI updates accordingly. It will call get profile pic URL and get username triggered. Okay. Okay. So the information is always available from Firebase.auth.current user. I really want to take into documentation because I want to see how they portray this information in documentation. Earlier we earlier we set up the auth_state_observer function to trigger when the user signs in so that our UI updates accordingly. It will call get profile pic and username when triggered. Okay. Okay. So we're going to go back to main.js, find the function get profile pic and get username. I'm going to use this code. Okay, so get profile pic is going to return firebase.auth.current URL. I'm not certain what this shorthand does. Maybe this is part of E6 that I've just never used before. I've only done a little bit of E6 with JavaScript. We really need to finish it though, because there's a lot of great shorthands and workarounds in there. All right, and for the get username similar, Firebase.auth current user display name. Okay, gonna try to remember that. And I think another great practice would be to even just like at least display text information in like on just like a very, very basic web page. It doesn't even have like much styling. Just to practice like getting information to and from. It's now put in a code for the. I would type it, but because it'd be good to type this. But since I'm just taking time to really understand the code, I'm just gonna copy and paste so I don't make mistakes. Because why spend time debugging when you can do it right the first time? Okay. Gonna take a quick. Getting a phone call. Gonna take a quick intermission. Okay, and we are back. Cool, cool, cool. Where was I? Ah, yes. Okay, so we finished our function to get the profile pic. Now we need to finish the function to get the username. So let me just go and grab that piece of code. Again, using the Firebase.auth.current user, and the next piece of information x is the display name. I see. So let's just get that in there. Oops. That does remain a comment. Cool. Now going back over. Okay. So we display an error message if the user tries to send messages when the user isn't signed in. Okay. So we need to detect if the user is actually signed in. Okay. So we're going to go back to main.js, going to find the function is user signed in. Replace the entire function with the following code. So basically, just a conditional Firebase.current user. So basically, I'm not sure how to. Not quite sure how to define this. This should return true if user is signed in. Definitely need to brush up on E6. Okay, so now we're going to test signing into the app. If your app is still being served, refresh the app browser. Otherwise, run Firebase serve only hosting on the command line to start serving the app from localhost 5000 and then open it in your browser. Plus, that now it's not currently being served, so I need to just go to my terminal and run this command. Just going to use the terminal from. Let's see. I need to. Oops. Do something. Okay, it just lagged. I need the CD into web start. Okay, cool. Now I'm going to run this command. Firebase serve / only hosting. Oops. Okay. Oh, I'm in PowerShell. I thought I changed this default. Okay, configure, select default profile. Yeah, you might run into issues if you try if you use okay. I need to look up how to change my default terminal. Cause dang, well I have to really hope they don't make open it into your terminal if I do that, but will it select default profile? Yeah, command prompt. I hope. Okay, there we are. Yeah. I know I probably could have. I think I could change the settings in PowerShell to allow that the problem, but I didn't quite want to mess with that at this time, so I left that alone. It's like, nope, not about to mess anything else up. Okay, cool. That's up now. I go to this link. I hope it comes in the right place. Okay, I went to my other modeler, so just gonna drag this over. Just gonna drag this over. Now we have a funny chat application. Let's see. I'm gonna try and get these just into one window. But oh, where did it go? Okay, lagged a bit. Okay, sign into the app using the sign in button on your Google account. If you see an error message starting from auth operation not allowed, check to make sure that you enable Google sign in as authentication provider. In the Firebase console, after signing in, your profile picture name should be signed in. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and sign in to my Google account to do Google sign in. I thought didn't I remove that? Did I not finish everything? Okay. I thought I definitely removed that alert. So it could just be okay. So I may just need to refresh this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so I'm just gonna sign. There we go. So it's showing my profile picture and my name. No, nothing else will work, but yeah, but okay, so we got the sign in, so that's awesome. Now there's more to sign in, I'm guessing in regards to this. I'm guessing there's more to sign in regards to what's that might be happening in here and so on, but I'm not gonna concern myself with that. Definitely need to get on the rest of this though. Okay, so awesome. Sign in works. Okay. Oh, just make sure that's everything there. Oh, okay. See, I almost skipped a portion I didn't realize. The standout should work. I'm not gonna test. I feel like the standout should work just fine because I did include this. I did include yep. So sign out works fine. Sign out works fine. Okay, so in this section, we'll write some data to Cloud Firestore so that we can populate the app's UI. This can be done manually with the Firebase console, but we'll do it in the app itself to demonstrate a basic Cloud Firestore, right? Okay. Okay, so data model. Cloud Firestore is split into collections, documents, fields, and subcollections. We will store each message at the chat as a document in a top-level collection called messages. Yeah. So this isn't like a regular SQL database. This is no SQL database. It's just documents. Primarily, it's just documents and collections. So it'll be structured like messages. You have message 1, and within that, so I believe you have, so it's taking a, I guess, a bit of a guess at my explaining this. So we have a collection, and in the collection we have a document. Basically each message, so each message is kind of like a document here. So in one message document, we'll have the name. I guess it should be the name of the sender, the profile picture of the sender, text of the message, and a timestamp. And they also provide some more things in documentation. I don't know if anyone just like sits and just reads documentation, but like I want to understand more about this. I'm just gonna read some documentation to learn about this new tool. So they just sit there like a maniac. But it's probably a good thing, probably a good habit to have. All right. Okay, so I'm just to clarify, so to store chat messages that are written by users, you'll use Cloud Firestore. In this section, you'll add the functionality for users to write new messages to your database. A user clicking the send button will trigger the code snippet below. It adds a message object with the contents of the message fields to your Cloud Firestore instance in the messages collection. The add method adds a new document with an automatically generated ID to the collection. Okay. Okay, so let's see. Okay, so we're gonna go to the main.js, we're gonna go to save messages, and we're gonna place a function with the following code. Let's look at the code before we put it in. Okay, so this is the save message function. We pass it the message text. We add a new message entry to the database. So we go firebase.datastore.collection, and then a collection. I believe we pass the name of the new document. No, we go to, no, Firebase, it's collection. So we go to collection, I believe messages, and then we basically add an object, which is kind of a message. So I hope I'm using the right terminology. So I believe we're adding a new document under the collections. I believe. Maybe. They'll probably explain it more later. I might do it by just from explaining this right now. So if I set an object with, you see the name, okay, username, text, with the message text, profile pic, we just call get profile pic, a function and a timestamp. You go, okay, so they have a function for this in Firebase. So firebase.file4.fieldValue.server timestamp. And then there's also a catch in case there are any errors. Awesome. Now I really just need to remember, like, okay, I believe it's collections documents, like collections documents, sub-collections document, blah, 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 blah. So I believe this just adds a new document. So I'm going to grab this code. Okay, so going to, it might even just be underneath I imagine they might put it in order. Okay, save message. Yep, I believe so. So then we do. We're gonna push a new message to Firebase. Awesome. Yeah, I really just like to do like a very basic test of just like it's good to practice being able to like storing information because you also have to think about how the information is gonna be structured. And that's definitely somewhere I need to improve. Okay. Let's see. Now we're going to do test sending messages. If your app is still being served, refresh the app in the browser. Otherwise, run Firebase, serve only hosting on the command line to start serving the app from localhost 5000. And then open it in your browser. Okay, it's still being served, so I think I just have refreshed. Okay, then next after that, after signing in, enter a message, say hey there, and click send. This will write the message into Cloud Firestar. However, you won't see the data yet in the actual web app because we still need to implement retrieving the data, which is the next section of the code app. Okay, cool. So we're just what's the acronym called? You know, I'm talking about like basic. It's just like update, just like read, write, update, something. I learned it when I was doing an Android course, and it came up in another video when I was following a Flash tutorial. That's a very basic concept of being able to like read, write, update when it comes to like web and mobile development. I just do not remember what the acronym was. Okay. But send the text message doesn't have to be there, but I'm gonna refresh this. How about instead of hey, we be like hey, so I guess enter key doesn't trigger, so we have to click send. Yep. So I'm just gonna send one for now. It's not going to update us yet. All right. How's it doing? Oh, I have. Listen, I'll work for myself in old age. I have horrible. I can have a horrible memory sometimes. I forgot what I'm doing. I forgot what I'm doing in the middle of doing it. Okay, you can see the newly added message in the Firebase console. Open your Firebase console under the build section. Click database. Click here to select the project for yourself, and you should see the messages collection with your newly added message. Oh yeah, I forgot. We have a message collection, and in that collection, we have a series of documents, and each document is a message. So documents, I think you can even think about documents as kind of like objects. Okay, so this is the application building called Friendly Chat. So I'm going to go to Firestar database. And okay, I don't see it. See, I did put it in, and it doesn't look like I had any errors. It's still hosting, so let me make sure this is saved. It usually does autosave, but let me see if that makes any difference. And now let me refresh the page again. Oops. Refresh this page again. I'm just gonna say yeah. Let's send that message. Okay, maybe I didn't click it properly next time, but let's see. Let me try refreshing. Usually it does. If it does not update, then it might be something with there might be something to be changed in the rules. Perhaps because I didn't. Okay, here it is. So we have new collection, messages. In fact, let's look closer at the code. So the add collection. Okay, so how I believe this works, I believe if it doesn't see a collection that goes by the name that is passed, it's just going to create that collection, and then it's just going to create that collection, I believe. And then if we have a dot add, then it'll also add any objects that are supposed to go in that collection. Well, I say information. Is any information supposed to go in there? All right, so yeah. So our first message, we have the name, the profile pic URL, and the text that I sent. I'm like, yeah, and the timestamp. So awesome. So that works. So, okay. Cool. Awesome. So we have read into our database. The next step is going to be reading messages from the database. Okay, we'll take care of that in a minute. I will be right back. Take a quick break. And I will be right back. Okay, so, and we're back. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Okay, so now we're gonna set up house. We're gonna set up reading of messages on Firestar, I believe. So now, to read messages in the app, we'll need to add listeners that trigger when data changes, then create a UI element that shows new messages. We'll add code that listens for newly added messages from the app. In this code, we'll register the listener that listens for changes made to the data. We'll only display the last 12 messages of the chat to avoid displaying a very long history upon loading. Okay, interesting. So we're going to go back to main.js, we'll go to function, load messages, and we're going to use this following code. Now let's dissect this code as best as we could, as best as we can. Okay, so this function loads messages, loads chat messages history, and listens for upcoming ones. So first, we create the query to load the last 12 messages and listen for new ones. Okay, so we go firebase.firestar. We want to look in the collection, so we go .collection. The collection we're looking in is messages. And then we order that information by timestamp in decreasing order. Decreasing. Probably for descending. I was trying to think about would you put in like INC for increasing, but no, probably descending. So, but of course I have to look up documentation to be certain, but most likely what that stands for. Anyway, so and then we set the limit, so that limit 12. Cool. Okay, so I believe that helps us to load the messages. After we're done, we can play around with some new things. We're adding, like showing more messages, showing less messages on the load time. So start listening to the query. So query the on snapshot function snapshot snapshot.doc changes for each function change. Wait, I'm sorry. Look, definitely want to look more in the documentation on this one. So query the on snapshot function snapshot dot changes dot for each function change. If change dot type is equal to removes delete message change dot id. Otherwise, okay, I guess we'll be able to remove messages. That's cool. Else fire messages change dot data. And the message is going to be listening to the change data. So display message. I'm guessing there's another function later in the code that we're going to be putting. So we send it the change to doc ID. So I'm guessing it's looking for documents that have been changed. Message at timestamp. Trying to wrap my head around everything here. Message.timestamp, message.name. So this is just us. So this is a list. Okay. Snapshot.doc changes function. Then we have a listener here. Because passing the function, I believe it's a listener. Not always the best at identifying these things. Anyway, display message, change.id, message.timestamp, message.name, message.text, message.profile picture, message.image URL. To listen to messages in the database, we create a query on a collection by using the .collection function to specify which collection the data that we want to listen to is in. So we specify which collection of data we want to listen to is in. And the code above for listening to the changes within the messages collection, which is where the chat messages are stored. Okay. So the collection changes on its own, I believe. So we're also applying a limit by only listening to the last 12 messages using dot limit by ordering the messages and ordering the messages by using order by timestamp descending to get the 12 newest messages. And that's for loading the message. Listening to changes within the messages section. And code above for listening to the changes within the messages collection, which is where the chat messages are stored, but also applying a limit by only listening to the last 12 messages using dot limit and ordering the message by date dot order by timestamp descending. Get the 12 newest messages. Try to suck it in my brain. Okay, so the dot on snapshot function takes one parameter, a callback function. The callback function will be triggered when there are any changes to documents that match the query. This could be if a message gets deleted, modified, or added. You can read more about this in Cloud. Yes, please. I would like to understand this a bit more because it's a bit hazy for me. Okay, so you can listen to a document with the. Let's make sure I understand this first. But okay, so I just create the query to let those last 12 messages and listen for. Okay, create the query. Then I start listening to the query. Okay, so this first one's just creating the query, and this query is just looking in. A query is looking in the collection messages and ordering the last and according to the timestamp in descending order the last 12 messages, the last 12 items I have in that collection. Because it's grabbing the last 12 things I have in the collection messages and putting them in descending order, according to the timestamp. So I get the newest messages first. And then I get the 12 newest messages. So yeah, and then we listen to the query. Okay, then we listen to the query. Okay. And the dot on snapshot takes one parameter. So a callback function. The callback function will be triggered when there are any changes to documents that match the query. If this could be message gets deleted, modified, added, or blah 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 blah. Oh, there goes my phone. Okay. Here's my phone. Okay, so let's see. I'm not sure where. So what is change exactly? Change the type to remove. Change the doc ID. Sorry for the rapid fire. So let's see. If the change type is removed, basically we call the delete message function and delete. Change doc ID. And so in the changes, look for the document. So in change, look for the documents to be changed and get the ID of the document. That's what I'm guessing. Let's see. You can listen to a document with this on snapshot method. An initial call using the callback you provide creates document snapshot immediately with the current contents of the single document. And each time the documents change, the contents change, another call updates the document snapshot. I'm not sure if I say snapshot or snapshot. Snapshot. Okay. Function. So is a changed, or is that specified somewhere else? It might be specified somewhere else. So let's look in. So I'm looking for where a change is mentioned here because I just want to understand that a bit more. So if I change.doc, first place it comes up. Okay, view changes between snapshots. Okay, it's often used to see the actual changes to query results between query snapshots. Instead of simply using the entire query snapshot, for example, you may want to maintain a cache as invalid individual documents are added, removed, and modified. And remember, basically the actual actual objects are message objects that have like text, the name of the person sent it. You know, those are our documents inside the collections called messages. Okay. So let's see. So there's snapshot.doc changes for each. What's the comparison here? Okay, snapshot.doc changes for each. And then we have the callback function. Then it's the callback function. This is an E6 notation. And we pass it the change. Under this change is object native to Firebase. So I just wanted to clear that up. So they're different change types. So where would I see the change types? Like, okay, there's added, there's modified, and there's removed. Are these the 3 types? Okay, I believe these are the 3 types, so. Okay, well, okay, so up a bit. So change is basically just an object that, I guess, keeps track of changes between different queries. So, and it does that just on its own. However, this is architected. So, but it's good to. But I understand that better now. So, I just have so I want to access the snapshot.doc changes. That lets me access, like, I guess, gives me all the changes, and like for each method is going to go through like each. I don't know what to call it. Like, I guess change object. That's easy way to understand it, and it'll look and see if the change.type is removed, then I'm gonna send that to delete message. And I'm guessing that's a method that's a function that's going to update the UI to remove any deleted messages. And then otherwise it's not deleted, then let's see. So we're gonna let the messages be assigned to change.doc.data. I guess the new data that's in the change, and then we're going to put that to display. Display message. I'm going to pass all the information that we would need for our message. Let's display all the information that it would have needed. To change the doc ID, change message at time, message at time. Now we probably could have just passed it. I wonder if we could have just passed it change the doc. Then no. So we saved that. So we put the data inside of. Okay, so we have the doc to change data, and we put that in this message. So I guess the ID is separate. The change. Okay, so what? I'm trying to understand it. So the change. Okay, so we got the document ID. I just wondering if it's necessary to differentiate it because, so I'm guessing so is ID not included in data? I find that peculiar. So that's what got me a bit confused. But hey, that's how it's done. How it's done. If you want to get some experience with this, I can I can differentiate a bit better, but hey, it's where we are. All right, have I updated that function yet? I have not. Okay, so I'm gonna grab this code. I'll be doing it on time. All right, I'll do this one. I'll keep the stream to only about 2 hours. That's crazy. It's really crazy. I feel like I'm forgetting something. All right, so let's grab this code. Oops. Okay, steady. Gonna grab that. Going to get it into our load messages. Okay. Have to really pull that apart. So if you do a Codelab, if you want to get the most of it, you should really look at the code, get an understanding of how it works, because then it doesn't. I guess it gives you a better foundation to be able to dive into navigate the documentation, because I'm pretty sure you eventually will need to go into documentation. If you're doing like something from scratch. Okay, so now we're going to test the synchronization messages. Synchronization of messages. Your app is still being served. Refresh your app in the browser. Otherwise, run Firebase serve only hosting on the command line. Yeah, it's still running. The messages you created earlier into the database should be displayed in friendly chat UI. You could also, I'll also test writing some new messages, and they should appear instantly. And optionally, you can try manually deleting, modifying, or adding the messages directly in the database section of the Firebase console. Any changes should be reflected in the UI. All right, so let's try that. Now I wrote a message called. I wrote a message with the text yeah earlier. So if I refresh this, it should show up if a code saved. Okay, seems like I need my code to save. Probably didn't save, so let's try. I don't know if autosave is enabled. I think it is. It should be. Autosave. Autosave is not enabled. Wow. Oh, wow. That's crazy. This whole time. Okay, so let's see if that message shows up. Yeah. So there it is. So I would definitely change this. Like, I want to know who. Before I see him, I think usually before I see him, I would like to see like there's. But anyway, it is what it is. I'll let you know who it is, who sent the message. If they're, well, then I guess the profile picture can't do that, but it is what it is. Okay. So great, that worked. So let me try sending some more messages. So I'm gonna try deleting this one. A little sup and just to test it further. Okay, so now we can try modifying these messages or deleting from the database section of the Firebase console. So if I do that, so these are the new messages. Sup, as well as this will be deleted. So let's see. I think I can delete this document. If I delete this document, I also delete the message. So let's try deleting this document. Yep. Okay. And there we go. The message that said this will be deleted is gone. It's gone. So yay, that worked. I could also modify this if I wanted to from the Firebase. So let's see. If I modify the string, I don't know, subman, whatever. If I update that, oops, okay. It also updated here. So awesome. Okay. Congratulations, you are reading Cloud Firestore documents in your app. Yay! Awesome. Interesting. Now this is an important thing. Like, so now we're gonna go with sending images. Okay, we are now add a feature that shares images. Cloud Firestore is good for storing structured data. Cloud storage is better suited for storing files. Cloud storage for Firebase is a file or blob storage device service. Allow user to store any images that a user shares using our app. So we're gonna look at saving images to cloud storage. For this collab, we've already added for you a button that triggers a file picker dialog. Okay, awesome. After selecting a file, the save image message can't read. After selecting a file, the save image message function is called, and you can get a reference to the selected file. The save image message function accomplishes the following. Okay. Let's see. Okay. Just think I'm gonna get into this in a part. I'm gonna make a part 3 in this. I spent a lot of time, breaking down like all the code in each section to make sure I understood it, make sure I explained it. And so I believe next time we can talk. Next time I'll finish up everything in like part 3. So we'll leave this here for now. Okay. So I'll go ahead and I have no idea if anyone's going to see this, but I mostly just streamed for myself to give me some additional motivation to practice these things. If anyone ever sees this and there's anything you ever want me to actually play around with, I'll try it out. But who knows when people are actually gonna look at anything that I stream. All right, so I'm gonna put in the stream. If you happen to click through this, it was nice having you. See you later.